Before we begin, please imagine the bell notification is on and you're subscribed to Huna Stories. As Jessica stepped out of the motel room, the sun dipped below the skyline, painting the heavens with a dim golden hue. She pulled her coat tighter around her, burdened by a heavy blend of guilt and exhaustion. Her plan had been simple: slip away from her husband, David, for a few hours under the guise of a work commitment and return home before dinner. But the day had dragged on longer than anticipated, and now her only desire was to sneak back unnoticed. Upon reaching the motel's parking lot, her stomach dropped. Her car was missing. A chill of panic surged through her. She scanned the lot once more, clinging to the hope that she'd merely forgotten where she'd parked. After several minutes, the truth hit her like a thunderbolt. Her car had been stolen. Her hands trembled as she dialed the police to report the theft, her voice carefully masking her unease with the tone of an innocent victim. Yet deep inside, a nagging fear whispered that this could be fate closing in on her too swiftly. She flogged down a taxi and sat in the back, enveloped in silence, her thoughts replaying the day's deceptions, the lies she'd told David, the invented meeting, the strange smiles, the text she'd sent saying, "Don't wait up, I'll be late." They weighed on her like a mountain of stones. What truly rattled her was the thought of facing David without her car. He was sharp, always catching the tiniest details, and lately he'd seemed more withdrawn than ever. When Jessica reached home, the house was cloaked in shadow, the porch lights unlit, an unusual sight. David always left them on when he knew she'd be late. She unlocked the door and stepped into the cold, unsettlingly quiet interior. "David?" she called softly, setting her purse on the kitchen counter. Only silence answered. As she moved through the hallway, a creeping dread took hold. The picture frames that once lined the walls were gone. The treasured wedding photo near the staircase had vanished. Her heart raced as she rushed through the house, checking drawers and closets. David's possessions, his shirts, his watch, even the old leather jacket he seldom wore, were nowhere to be found. The truth crashed over her like a flood. He was gone. On the dining table lay an envelope bearing her name. Her fingers shook as she opened it, revealing her car key and a letter. She sank into a chair, fear knotting her stomach, yet she couldn't stop herself from reading. The letter opened. "Jessica, I've uncovered everything. The motel, the other man, the lies you thought you'd concealed so cleverly. You weren't as careful as you imagined. The GPS in your car gave away your whereabouts today. I had it towed while you were in that room. Consider this my goodbye." Tears burned her eyes as she continued. David's handwriting was calm, almost eerily composed. "I didn't want a scene. I just needed you to know I deserved honesty. Your car is at your mother's in Tucson. Pick it up when you're ready to face her or yourself with the truth." Jessica let the letter slip from her hands, her vision blurred by tears. The sting wasn't just from being found out. It was the quiet resolve in David's words. He hadn't raged or destroyed anything. He'd simply left, forcing her to face the consequences of her choices. She hurried to their bedroom, grasping at a faint hope that he might still be there. But the room felt empty. The closet stood open, half bare, his side cleared out. On his pillow lay his wedding ring, carefully placed as if it were a final gesture of grace. Jessica fell to her knees, clutching the ring, her cries echoing in the quiet. For the first time, she realized that losing her car was nothing compared to losing the one person who had loved her despite her flaws. The guilt she'd suppressed roared to the surface, suffocating her with the truth she'd long avoided. Wandering into the living room, she felt the house's emptiness like a tangible presence. The warmth, the joy, the sense of belonging, it had all evaporated. Every corner held a memory. Every shadow carried David's silent reproach. Later that night, she sat by the window, the letter in her hands, reading it over and over. There was no anger in his words, only finality. He had freed himself from her betrayal, and that freedom was a punishment she could never escape. Outside, the world moved on, but Jessica was frozen in that moment, haunted by her decisions. The man she thought she could deceive had proven stronger than she'd ever realized. Her car might be waiting at her mother's, but her peace, her marriage, and her future were gone forever. Sitting in the darkened stillness, she finally understood that the worst loss wasn't the absence of material things. It was the crushing weight of her own actions, a truth she could no longer evade.